Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to episode 86 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
How's it going today, sir?
It is going. I'm glad to be here, of course.
It's your Friday, isn't it?
It's my Friday.
I'm always so jealous. I always have one more day to work.
I'm just glad to be back here podcasting.
Heck yeah! We got a very exciting episode for you guys. The main topic is the Martin House mini deep dive, but there's a lot of postscripts. There's a lot of excitement around the beer tasting we're doing today.
We got lots going on.
It's going to be a good one.
How was the holiday?
That was really nice. How was yours?
Good. Yeah. Turkey turned out good.
Yeah, you spatchcocked it, right?
Yeah, spatchcocked it, brined it, and put it on the barbecue. So
It turned out good?
yeah, it was good.
And you had it cooked in time?
Yep, cooked in time.
Perfect.
It all worked out.
Very good. That's awesome. We only had to make cookies, so we really got off easy.
Nice.
So we got the whole turkey dinner, or the whole Thanksgiving experience, and we brought our cookies. So we had a very small part to play, but we got to reap the rewards of everyone else's preparation.
I like it.
Yeah. The cookies were really good, though.
What kind of cookies?
They're chai. They're like chai flavored cookies. It's something my wife makes them every year. They're so good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
They're
I've
like
had a chai.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a chai cookie before.
Okay. They're like they have cream cheese frosting too.
Ooh, man.
So imagine like a snickerdoodle, but instead of yeah. But then it has like a cream. She makes this cream cheese frosting that goes on top that like complements it perfectly.
Dang, that sounds good.
Yeah. So the cookies were a big hit. So. All right. So without further ado, are you ready for this, Steven? You're doing something exciting, but I'm doing something that's like I feel like it's on another level.
Yeah, for sure.
No offense to your beers you're drinking today.
No, I mean, I'm very excited for yours.
Do you ever watch Top Gear?
I mean, I think I've seen clips and stuff. Yeah.
There's like a clip on Top Gear. I can't remember what car he's getting. He's basically getting out of one supercar and getting out of another. He's like getting out of like a McLaren and then getting into like a Bugatti. And then he like looks at the camera. I can't remember the guys' names, and he's like, some days are better than others. And I feel like today on the podcast, at least for me, this is one of the better days, better than others. Because after Steven's great tip, I was able to obtain some Heady Topper, which is phenomenal. And I also have easy access to Pliny. So today I'm doing a head-to-head of Pliny the Elder and Heady Topper.
Okay. Like somewhat different styles, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think so. I guess...
It's a bit of a West Coast versus East Coast.
It's a little bit of a West Coast versus East Coast. But what's interesting is like if you look at the Imperial IPA list on Beer Advocate, and if you rank them, Heady Topper's number 1. Pliny the Younger is number 2, which unfortunately I don't have. And then Pliny the Elder is number 3. So we're putting number 1 at the number 3.
So Imperial IPA, that's what the category.
That's the category they fall into, yeah.
Okay, I like it.
So, and I'm so sorry I got so excited that I forgot to introduce the segment, but basically I introduce my beers, I give nose notes, Steven does the same, and then we cheers, drink, and give tasting notes. So I will give nose notes now. Okay.
Well, this is so exciting.
Also, I have a fundamental disagreement with the Alchemist.
Oh yeah, they say drink from the can.
So they say drink from the can, and I wanted to respect them because they're the geniuses that make this beer. But I did try side by side drinking from the can and drinking out of a glass, and I preferred the drinking out of the glass experience.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
So yes, I did disagree with that. But other than that, I
can't drink beer out of a can. I will drink a beer out of a bottle. That's fine.
Okay.
I cannot drink out of a can. I can't do it. I'm pretty sure I'd prefer Bud Light poured out into a glass. Even Bud Light.
Oh, we've been over this. I pour everything out, right?
Yeah. Ooh, look at those. Okay.
Okay, so, well, on my right, which I think this is your left. I don't know. We're looking at a camera. This is the Heady Topper. So it is hazy. And they do talk about on the can that it's, I don't know if they use the word unpasteurized, but it's basically like it's designed to be a fresh consumed product. And they say it will be a little hazy.
Okay.
And then on the left, you have the Pliny, and it's actually it's very clear. The head on the Pliny is the bubbles are bigger. It's a little bit more of like dissipating. And then the Heady Topper has like a thicker carpeted head. Gosh, what I didn't realize when I just drank. Yeah, you got to taste it. You got to do everything side by side. That's the only ways to. But
yeah,
this Heady Topper is so dank. It's something I didn't realize. It smells like, it just legitimately smells like bud.
Yeah.
And then just insane tropical flavors and a super strong like very sweet malt smell, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But it's also got that pine. It's got everything. It's got the malt, it's got the pine, it's got that dank, basically like marijuana smell, and then you got the tropical flavors, heavy hitters like mango, guava, orange. So the nose on it is very impressive. Okay, that's Heady Topper. And then the noses on Pliny is like, I feel like I just had my nose like blown out by all the smells coming off the Heady Topper. This is way more, it's more subdued. It has like a crisper smell, if that makes sense. It doesn't have like that pungent sweetness. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I always feel like Pliny the Elder has a very, very like beer smell to it. Like a much more of that like bread, crisp.
Mm-hmm. It's that crisp, clean, almost like a lager smell.
Mm-hmm.
But you do there is like a slightly resinous pine note. But yeah, way less. There's a lot less going on in the head, or at least in the nose of Pliny than there is the Heady Topper. And just, yeah, coming back to the two, it's a pretty significant difference. All right, sir. You introduce your beers.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to drink, the first one I'm going to drink is called Delilah Into the Darkness. This is from Martin House Brewing Company that we're going to talk about today. This is a dark cran raspberry sour. Last year they made a beer called, I want to say it was Delilah's Delight, I think. It was a cran raspberry sour. So they basically did the same thing, but in like a darker base. So this one will be much darker in color, probably darker in flavor. And then this one is actually 12%.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. The Delilah's Delight was 10%, which is still pretty high for a sour beer.
Yeah, you don't usually see them in the double-digit ABVs.
So I believe the base for this is a brown ale.
Okay.
So it's a sour brown.
Ooh, I like that.
With cranberries and raspberries. And this is beautiful. It looks almost stout-like with a giant head on it. Like a very, very thick, almost probably like 1.5 inch carpet of very, very small, thick bubbles of head. Like I don't know, almost look like a nitro pour. It doesn't smell anything like it looks. Looks like I poured out a Guinness, but it's very fruity. Definitely some raspberry, some plum and fig, dark fruits. Currants coming off of there. Maybe just the slightest hint of like chocolate, sweet chocolate, like almost like white chocolate, kind of like a very, very, very sweet chocolate, and a touch of vanilla maybe too. So.
Wow, this one sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'll drink that one first, and then I do have another Martin House beer. It's called Gingerbread Man. It's a gingerbread stout.
Okay, just pastry stout a little bit.
Yeah. So I'll crack that one open maybe mid-episode if I get through this 12%.
Your 12% sour, yeah.
Luckily, they're both just 12-ounce cans. So.
All right,
and it's my Friday, so.
Yeah, you're allowed to.
Okay.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, I've been having an experience. Poor Steven, because we usually, a little behind the scenes. We don't instantly rattle off these tasting notes. We do take a small break that we edit out, but this break was much longer.
This is the magic of
the magic of podcasting. Yeah. So I had to apologize to Steven multiple times of like, I'm sorry I'm taking forever, but like,
it's all right.
I was having an experience over here. So
some beers you just You need some time with both of those.
Yeah, I really caught a white whale with this Heady topper. So I'm really excited with my final determination. But let me tell you what I tasted. So on Pliny, it's crisp, bitter malt kind of in the entrance. And you get that bitter pine hop. Very like West Coast bitter pine hop. Grapefruit, orange peel. And the hop bitterness is like present throughout the whole experience. But what's cool and kind of what makes it balanced is like the other flavors kind of come in. But there's this like undertone of this like really crisp pine hop. And then it has almost like a dry finish. So the whole experience is kind of like, it's very refreshing and satisfying. And crisp is like the word that keeps coming to mind.
Okay.
Now, Heady topper is like, it's similar, but it's like the exact opposite. So it's like, instead of pine, it's just dank. Like, it has almost the same experience. But instead of this, like, pine note going throughout, you just have this, like, incredibly dank hop undertone. Like, it's right when you sip, and then it's throughout the whole experience. It's just, like, dank. And then it's sweet malt. So, like, rather than being crisp, it's, like, more heavy and sweet and oily. And then you get, like, grapefruit, orange, mango. It's even a bit spicy. But the overall experience is like an oily, darker, heavier, sweeter. It's much more, I don't know the word to describe it, but crisp versus oily is what I'm really getting down to. Like, okay. And the sweetness factor is like totally different. Like the Pliny's like almost devoid of sweetness when you drink them like side by side, if that makes sense. So, But what I'm happy to report is I think I like Pliny better, which is good because I don't know when the next time I'm going to be able to buy Heady topper is, but I can get Pliny like with regularity. So I kind of, going into this, I thought I was going to like Heady topper way better because when I drank it in isolation, I was like blown away by it. But I think that might have been part of it was like, the hype of finally being able to drink it. I got a 4-pack. I gave 2 away because I don't know. I was like, well, I can drink 4, but I kind of want like other people to experience this. So I drank 1, and then this is the second time I'm drinking it, basically. And like, just putting it against the Pliny, it's like putting it into perspective. Like, it's not light years above Pliny, if that makes sense. Like, I think there's a reason they're both like very closely ranked. I'm happy because at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna like this like way more and not be able to get it. So, but I would say I like them both. But I think Pliny might edge it out ever so slightly. Just because of like that overall like crisp experience of it. There's something about it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Obviously thumbs up to both of them.
Yeah. Do you know the ABV on the Heady topper?
Yes, I do. Let's see. It is 8%.
Okay.
And versus Pliny is 8%. They're both 8%.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Sorry, Steven. How was your beer? That was a lot.
It's okay. It's really good. It's interesting. It has right away there's sort of like chocolate and espresso dipped raspberry flavor. That's kind of the best way to describe it. Like that chocolate and coffee aren't like super, they're very, very subtle with that raspberry fruit flavor. So it's kind of like a chocolate covered raspberry, and then definitely get some tart cranberry, almost to like a puckering sour. But then it very much like clears up into this wine-like dryness, like these wine-like tannins, and no alcohol burn. So it's really interesting. It's almost like a wine. I would say it's very similar to a wine with this added layer of puckering sour that you would never get on a wine.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a sour wine.
Sour wine. I'm surprised you don't really sense the alcohol with it being 12%.
Yeah, not at all.
That's what we call a dangerous beer.
That's what I'm going to probably feel because I'm drinking it fast too because it's good. But one of the things I wrote down was this would pair amazingly with like a really, really good dark chocolate. It just has just enough subtle chocolate in the flavor of the beer, but like that complements the fruitiness that's like the main part of this beer. And just eating chocolate, I think with that would be good. So there you go.
Nice. That sounds like one I would really like.
Yeah, I think you would like it too because it's almost like a Flanders.
Yes.
It's like
The second you said it had the brown base, the base beer was brown, I was like, okay, you have my attention.
Yeah, so I think you would like this for sure.
Nice. All right, triple thumbs up day. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
And, of course, we'll get into this, but I'll never be able to drink this again. Well, once
I know. We're going to talk about Martin House, but Martin House is like, they're living in the moment. And we'll elaborate on that more. But, all right.
Okay, so, oh my gosh, we have tons of stuff to talk about.
I know. So our next segment is postscripts, where we fix things from previous episodes, beer news, and story time with Steve. And we have like 6 postscripts. So I
was gonna say we even have more than we talked about in the pre-roll because I thought of something.
Oh no! Okay, this is like we're like settling all our debts. On postscripts.
It's been a little while too, because we had it's been quite a few weeks since we did a full episode.
That's true.
Yeah, so we're catching up.
We have not been paying rent on our postscripts.
No.
And today we're making good. Well, actually, that's not true.
We got our tax return. We're gonna catch up.
One of them I don't have an answer for, but we're gonna catch up on like the majority. Okay, so I'll go first. We'll pass back and forth. Okay, so my first postscript was. I talked about, I think 2 episodes ago, the phenomenon where like lots of people guessed the weight of a cow and got it right. So I found the origin story of this. It's in 1907, Sir Francis Galton apparently asked 787 villagers to guess the weight of an ox. And while none of them got the right answer, if you averaged all their guesses, it was a near perfect estimate. So this is a classic demonstration of the wisdom of crowds. But as I started to dig like deeper into this,
wisdom of crowds.
Yeah, right.
That sound like a special thing.
It's like a pop sci book, right? Yeah. There's like multiple pop sci books about this, but I'm gonna return. I'm postscripting this because when I was reading about it and I don't know. I have a lot of questions about the validity of this claim. So we will return to this postscript. But that's what I was thinking of when it wasn't a cow, it was an ox. But yeah, it was like that fable or story or.
Like if you get enough people guessing,
that's kind of the idea. Is like if you enough people guess and you average it out, it'll be very close to the right answer. But I'm gonna dig a little deeper into this, Stephen.
Okay.
I'm not satisfied with this answer.
Okay, that was a good postscript.
Right.
That created more questions than answers.
I know it's a postscript that's generating another postscript. So. All right, what's your first postscript for?
Okay, so let's see, I'll go to this one. So we talked about Jester King when we were drinking Atro Rubicite and when we were talking about water in our water episode. And one of the things I knew about Jester King was that at least with some of their styles, they would not manipulate the water at all. They use Texas well water. The brewery, I watched so many things and read so many things, it was ridiculous. But the brewery actually sits on a huge, Texas Hill Country in general, which is kind of the area west of Austin, there's tons of like huge stones under the ground and stuff. So anyway, they basically sit on this giant bed of limestone and the water trickles through that and picks up a lot of minerals and stuff, and then that shows up, of course, in the well water. So anyway, the conclusion that I was able to make, I think, is that they never manipulate their water, that they're always just using that Texas well water to incorporate that sort of Texas terroir, that hill country terroir, into their beer.
I love that.
Whatever that water makes, whatever beer that water makes, that's the beer you drink. So
that makes me like Jester King like even more.
Yeah, I think it's just a choice, right?
I don't know, there's something cool about just like, you know what? This is the water we have. This is the water that we're making our beer with.
I think it does manifest itself sort of in like how good some of their beers are and like how bad.
Are you saying they should manipulate their water for some of their beers?
I think maybe sometimes they should.
I don't know. I'm like swept away by the romanticism of it, but yeah, maybe it's not practical.
Yeah, no, I think that they thrive on the romantic story that they tell. I think that's probably more important than the occasional bad beer that they do.
They're like, we have a cool romantic reputation to maintain.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably true.
Well, it's working on me.
Yep. See, And I mean, they really do specialize in the farmhouse ales, which tend to, well, the beers they make for the most part are beers that sort of, do well with that style of water, which is, historically what breweries have done for the most part, especially if you're brewing in sort of an ancient style. So, if they occasionally make a IPA, which they do, and don't manipulate the water, I think it's probably not the worst decision they could make. They still do a good job.
Okay. Well, that leads me to my postscript that I don't have an answer for. So,
oh my gosh,
I'm 0 for 2.
Yeah, you're killing it.
So I was trying to figure out if Scotch distilleries alter their water, and I started to do some research, but I wasn't getting like good answers. So I'm gonna have to work on this one, Steven. This is gonna be a postscript.
Well, I was reading up on this a little bit too. So there's 5 distinct geographical areas of Scotch whiskey.
Correct.
I believe, right? Isla being one of them.
Isla? Ooh, I don't know if I can name them all. Speyside, Highlands.
I was going to say, they have like...
Yeah, but there's regions, and they each have like their own distinct qualities.
And that is like laws in place for, being able to say that your Scotch is...
Oh yeah, it's just like bourbon.
One of those, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of rules, and a lot of it is region locked, and yeah.
But I believe that, I think part of, at least from what I was reading, is that part of like why each one of those regions whiskeys tastes a certain way is because of the local ingredients they're using, right?
So yeah, that's
from what I understand.
That's the romance of it, but I was kind of like, I wanted to test that story because I would like to believe that none of them alter any other water or anything like that. Because part of the Isla thing is so Isla is like a very tiny island, and apparently it's not a very nice place to visit because it's basically like a swamp. So apparently they have these like midges. They're like these little biting insects that will just like devour you like in the summer months. I would love to go there, but apparently when you go there you don't have a good time. And what they say makes that Scotch, gives it its flavor, like the Isla flavor is this peaty flavor. And it's because they have all this basically like, I think it's called peat moss that like grows. Mm-hmm. So it's like a swamp basically. And they basically use like swamp water, and that's what gives it its characteristics. So I would like to believe that they're just using it unadulterated, but I was going to try to dig a little bit deeper into that. Okay. So yeah, it's Isla, Speyside, Highland. I think I got those 3. Mm-hmm. Lowland, and then the one I would not have got is Campbelltown. Okay. Yeah. So to be continued.
Scotch drinkers.
To be continued.
Okay, I like it. Do you drink your whiskey straight, or you're like neat?
I do drink it.
Water it down.
I drink it neat. Unless it's bottled at if it's 40%, I'm definitely drinking it neat. If it's 48 or above, I'll generally add a drop or 2 of water. And it varies from Scotch to Scotch how well they take water, I think. But it is I think scientifically proven when you add water, you do kind of unlock different flavor profiles. But I'm kind of a stickler on drinking stuff neat.
Gotcha. Okay. I was curious. I figured. But...
I'm not trying to be pretentious about it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't definitely not ice because I don't want to. I think this is true of especially bourbon barrel aged stouts. Mm-hmm. I think they're better when they're slightly warmer, and I think that's a little bit true of Scotch too. I think extreme temperatures like cold and heat mask flavors rather than reveal them. So
yeah. Well, and I think that gets a little bit to the heart of drinkability or why you're drinking it or in what setting you're drinking in and what you like about drinking Scotch, so or bourbon or whiskey or whatever. And so I think if you water it down or make it colder, it's going to be easier to drink. Yeah. Maybe not as flavorful, but easier to drink. So it's just chilling wine. Some people really like their wine chilled, and they're not drinking it the way you're supposed to drink, quote unquote, supposed to drink it. But I think the overall drinking experience in terms of just being able to drink it and kind of enjoy it without having to break down flavors is always going to be easier colder. So
yeah, if you like it, I always say drink.
But you're the kind of person who you want to sit with it.
Yeah.
Right. You want to actually taste it.
Yeah, ultra pretentious. But I don't try to enforce my pretentiousness on other people. If you want to drink it with ice and that's how you like it, do your thing. But for me, I don't. I would never add ice, but I would occasionally add a little water, a drop here or there.
Yeah. Somebody made the grave mistake of posting on the craft beer Reddit the other day with the caption of something like, would have been even better with a frosted glass or something.
Oh, gosh, the frosted glass is so controversial.
Yeah, that was a big mistake. All the craft beer nerds came out on that one. Like,
the keyboard players.
No, it would not have been better. Like, don't put anything in a frosted glass. If you have frosted glasses, please take them out of the freezer.
You're wrong, and you should feel bad.
Yes.
That's probably what they said. Those people on the internet are so
You're
mean.
stupid.
Yeah.
Please just delete this post.
Hey, if you like it, you drink it the way you like it. It says right on here, drink from the can, and I refuse.
Have you ever deleted a post you just regret and the comments were just too severe to take?
Have I?
Yeah.
Oh, I try not to post anything on the internet anymore, Stephen.
Okay, trying to minimize your digital footprint.
Yeah, Facebook's deleted. I'm lurking for the rest of my life.
I've made posts on the craft beer Reddit. I just took down.
Don't talk to those monsters.
Yeah, they are monsters.
They are.
That's a forum that is just not very nice. It can be nice, I think, sometimes, but not the craft beer one. So if you're
never post on Reddit, Steven.
I have not posted in a long time.
There's nothing.
I post on Instagram. Hello. Okay,
yeah. There's nothing.
Just doing that is enough.
Yeah, there's nothing to be gained there.
Enough of my social media time.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, at least like Instagram, I gain followers and ultimately maybe monetize or something, but Reddit, like, what is it? You get like
karma.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So okay, I feel like we should add a segment sometimes. I don't know, like rants by Jason.
Oh, we could do story time with Steve, and then
just let Jay. I just let you rant on something.
Was I ranting?
You have the best rants. Well, not necessarily, but
okay.
I think you probably could.
I'm always ready to rant. I have a lot of really strong opinions. But I learned in my age, it's usually better to keep them inside. Now, when I was 20, I didn't know that. I put all my rants outside.
I had this moment at work the other day where I just had this policy, and in my head it made no sense, and I was like going on this rant on it about how it made no sense. That's the stupidest thing. And then I like had a moment of like a while to think about it, and I literally like went through everything, and I talked myself completely over to the other side. And I came back out to my team and I was like, okay, guys, I talked myself out. And this is why that I basically went on a whole nother rant, but on the other side of the argument.
You had to do a rant to correct your rant.
They just like gave me like a thumbs up, like, okay, dude.
See,
came around.
This is why we're friends, Steven.
I was like, look, I have strong convictions, loosely held. Yes. Okay, that is my... I am able to change my mind. I'm able to change my own mind.
You're like, I had a conversation with myself, and
we worked it out. Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That's amazing. Okay, so I'm 0 for 2. Do you have an answer?
Okay.
Do you have a postscript we have an answer on?
Yeah, I have one. So we briefly mentioned, I don't even know if we said we were going to postscript this, but we briefly mentioned that, we were talking about bourbon barrel aging beers, and I was talking to this guy from a home brew club that the home brew club bought a bourbon barrel to age this beer in, and we're like, oh, I wonder how much that costs. So of course I looked it up, and you can get bourbon barrels for about $150, $150 to $180, and that was a pretty small barrel. I think it might hold like a 10-gallon batch of beer.
Oh, okay.
So
they're expensive.
So even if you're only doing just like home brew sizes, you're gonna pay $150, $180. But yeah, I mean, you could technically just keep reusing it over and over and over again if you wanted. So
the question is, are you buying one, Steven?
No.
You're not gonna make a bourbon barrel aged stout?
That's one of those styles I'm like, I'll just drink I'll drink real breweries bourbon barrel aged stouts. I'm sure they do it better than I
do. Yeah, I feel like that's one of those things that you're gonna get better mileage out of letting someone else do it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
All right,
so $150 to $180. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Tons of websites though,
that are selling them.
Availability. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Okay, cool. So I have one. We thought I would take till episode 100, but Steven texted me the other day and said my prediction had come to pass.
Oh yeah, this makes up for the 2 you didn't technically answer.
Yeah, this is
you're like a prophet. You're like a beer prophet.
This is a safe bet, I think. But basically, Steven drank Basic Rebecca. It was a Basic Rebecca and Basic Becky.
Yeah.
And one was barrel-aged and one was not. And I think my prediction was that the barrel-aged one would have a lower score over time on Beer Advocate. And sure enough, it has slipped in the ranks to be less popular than the non-barrel-aged version.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the Basic Becky and like what I revealed on my, through my side-by-side tasting was the Basic Becky is a pumpkin beer, the pumpkin stout. And it just like... the pumpkin qualities were much more evident. Just felt like that was the beer that they set out to create. That was the beer you were tasting. It was a good stout with like pumpkin spices and qualities to it, pumpkin flavor to it. The bourbon barrel-aged version, I just felt like got overwhelmed by the barrel, and you just sort of lost some of that pumpkin complexity. And look, I mean, if you hate pumpkin beers, probably like the bourbon barrel-aged version better. But I think if you're drinking that beer, that's the one you pick off the shelf.
Yeah.
Then you want to drink a pumpkin flavored stout, and that's the one that, and it was just well executed, so that one's gonna rate higher, and the bourbon barrel aged version just, made sense. But like, it was cool to see it come to fruition. Like, I pulled it up. I think I felt like I was looking at it for some other reason. I think one of my coworkers asked me about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I've had that one, and pulled it up and was like, oh, it actually has a Beer Advocate score now, and sure enough, it was like a 92 versus the 94 for the Basic Becky or whatever. So I was like, dang. I immediately sent it to Jason.
He's like, you called it. Well, the only reason I thought that is because like a lot of styles don't really lend themselves to be barrel aged. But I think like there is like, I don't know, people like to barrel age stuff because kind of like technically adds value. But for a lot of styles, I don't think it does. Like, for example, next week I'm going to drink another barrel-aged Goza.
Oh, really?
It's a different one. The name is eluding me right now, but I'll drink it next week. But because I had that barrel-aged Goza from, I think, the brewery, or was it? No, it was Founders. It was like a tequila.
The Mas Agave.
Yeah, and I was just like, it's not good. Like, I don't know. Like, don't barrel-aged Goza. So I found another one. I'm gonna give it a chance. I think it's from Almanac Brewing, but it's a barrel-aged Goza. So if this one's also bad, I'm really going to give up on barrel-aged Goza.
I know there's one we have 512 Brewing here in Austin. They have one called Easy Goes It, and it's a barrel-aged. I can't remember what kind of barrels I want to say, probably tequila. I think that's usually the...
I mean, that makes sense because, the saltiness.
Like a margarita sort of style, So, I think it's a tequila barrel-aged Goza. I just have never quite... It's just one of those things like, is it really going to be that good? Like, I don't want to buy this.
Well, and they're expensive, so... But yeah, I bought it in a crazed buying session at the grocery store. I was not able to... I'm very sad because Steven has awoken me to this local... Basically like a convenience store, but they have really good beer selection. And they posted that they had the Bourbon County...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Bourbon County Stouts from Goose Island.
Yes. And they had some of the variants. And unfortunately, this week at work has been kind of crazy. And I just haven't... I usually swing by on the way home from work, but I got out of work late, like every day this week. So like, I'm not making an extra stop. I just want to go home. Yeah. But maybe I'll try to go this weekend and see if they have any left, because I really wanted to grab some of those. But
yeah. So that was actually... I mentioned there was one I hadn't talked about. So that was what I wanted to talk about, was the release of the Bourbon County Stouts from Goose Island. I didn't realize that that's a Black Friday thing every year.
Oh, they always do it on Black Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating.
And so they have, of course, the original that they do every year, and then they have these variants, and those variants change from year to year. So this year they did a biscotti variant. So I think they used like almond and something else that was like weird in it. But yeah, sort of biscotti. Then another variant was a Fig Newton. It's called Sir Isaac's Bourbon County Stout. So it's a Fig Newton. So they use like figs and graham crackers in that one. A ton of articles I read said they were very impressed with all the variants this year. Like, usually there's one or two that are like, but everything is pretty good. They have a coffee variant. They've made that one before. I think the last time they made a coffee variant was in like 2017, 2018. And then they did this one that was called the Proprietors County Stout. That one they made to do like a Jungle Bird cocktail, which is pineapple, banana, coconut, and lime.
Ooh.
But apparently that one came out really well too.
So there's no Coca-Cola this year?
No Coca-Cola
Dang,
this year.
I wanted to try the Coca-Cola.
And then they have another one, like I think it's the BCS Reserve. That one's just, I think, aged longer in different barrels or something. So, but anyway, like I said, the reviews on them were really, really good. Multiple articles. We're very impressed with each of the variants.
That's exciting. Okay, I'm so glad you told me this, that it's a Black Friday thing, because oh dang, this is disappointing. So I will be able to get the regular one, the 2022, but the biscotti and coffee variants are sold out. But if I just want the regular one, they do actually have it at Bevmo. And you can basically order on the website and then just go pick it up on whatever day you pick. So probably the second we finish this podcast, I'll get at least one bottle, because I want to get at least one of the 2022.
Yeah.
And it's not expensive. It's $13.
No, it's not bad. I think the variants are maybe 18 or something.
They want 25 for the variants.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Which that's
a little markup.
I know, that's a lot, but the basic for just the like regular one, $13, it's definitely worth it. So
yeah. So I have been kind of keeping my eye out. I haven't really. Last year when I got it, it was just at the grocery store near me, and they have not had it. In fact, I stopped in there tonight to see, and they didn't have it. So I might have to actually go to the beer shop.
Yeah, the fancy beer store.
Might be able to make a run there tomorrow. See what I can find. See what
else you can find. Yeah. All right, cool. So, what other postscripts do we have?
I think that was it. Did we get them? I think we hit them all.
Nice. That only took us an hour in. All right. So, how about beer news?
No real beer news. I guess that was sort of what I was going to talk about with beer news.
Okay, perfect.
Bourbon County Stouts, yeah.
And do we have a story time with Steve?
No.
All right. And do we have a Jason?
I haven't even been. Yeah. Anything you want to? Oh. Okay. No. We did have a news.
Oh.
So Brewbound, which is a craft beer website, craft beer news site, they have awards every year.
Okay, yeah.
So they have like a craft brewery of the year and large brewery of the year and whatever. But one of the ones that I found most amusing and got like memed, like so many memes in the craft beer world, was Innovation of the Year went to New Belgium's Voodoo Ranger Juice Force IPA, because apparently a 9.5% ABV hazy IPA is innovative.
That is so funny. So I didn't even know about Juice Force until we went on the tour, and our tour guide mentioned that like Juice Force is one of the beers that like pays the bills for New Belgium. So I grabbed a tall can at the store because I was really curious about it. It is not innovative. So it's innovative, but not in the way that okay, cool. It's like an Imperial IPA that's high ABV that has tropical flavors. Like, isn't that every Imperial IPA?
Yeah. Like, I don't.
But what I will say is the tall can, which I think it's like one of those weird super ultra tall cans. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's not a 16 ounce. It's like an actual tall boy. It's like
19, it might be like 19 point something ounces.
Yeah, and
I feel like you can get one for like $2, maybe less.
Yeah.
So in that regard, that's
I mean, it's
pretty good, because one of those will get you quite buzzed, and it's like not bad to drink. It's a little. I don't think they totally mask the booze. It has a little bit of like that gasoline experience in it, like where you're like, ooh, you get this like wave of alcohol. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's like, oh, this is kind of a juicy, nice IPA, and then all of a sudden there's like, whoa, like you get the wave of alcohol. So it's not super refined, I would say, but if you want like a very pleasant thing to drink to like get a buzz on for pretty cheap, it's an excellent choice. So in that way, maybe it is innovative, but
yeah, and I think like because a lot of the memes were like, you know, joking about like, wow, blowing my mind over a 9.5% hazy IPA, like who would have thought, you know? But a lot of like, especially in the comments, were like, well, honestly, the most innovative thing is that you can get a 6-pack for $10. Like, yeah, that's actually pretty amazing. So it's almost like could you have maybe like separated that out as an award, you know, like maybe marketing innovation of the year, and then beer innovation, you know, or brewing innovation of the year or something like that. Maybe made that distinction. But yeah, so like you said, for what it is and the price you get it at is actually pretty impressive. But yeah, it was definitely a fun meme for the craft beer world when that came out. Okay, I have to say, I finished the Delilah, so good. I poured this Gingerbread Man from Martin House. Oh, and I have to give a shout out to my coworker Hannah, who gave this beer to me today.
Nice.
That's where I got it, and she insisted that I shout her out on the podcast.
Hi, Hannah.
On the podcast, so thanks, Hannah. But now I'm sticking my nose in this thing. Holy cow! Do you like ginger?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love like Moscow mules. Have you had a Moscow mule?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I do like Moscow mules, and I like ginger snap cookies. I don't like ginger in cooking. Okay. I don't like it in
recipes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or like regular dishes.
Yeah, I just feel like it can be overpowering.
Does it smell like ginger?
Is insane. It's like, yes, but it also has this like weird, like, I don't know. I guess it's kind of cinnamony. I guess maybe it's probably what they're bringing it in, but it's like very, very, very strong. Okay, I'm gonna try and drink this.
Okay. Sometimes, the nose is not reflective of the taste. So Steven's making a face. I'm so sorry, Hannah.
Yeah, I don't like that. Sorry, Hannah. I don't know if she'll like it either, so at least I don't feel bad. I'll text her right now.
All right.
Wait, it's late. Never mind. It's midnight.
Yeah, it's late where you're at.
That is tough. That's actually. We're gonna segue right into our topic there with this.
I have more bad news, Steven.
Oh, you do? Okay. What's the more bad news?
I like Heady Topper better than Pliny the Elder.
Really? Mm-hmm. You changed your mind?
I've been
sipping. Yourself out.
I have had a very similar experience to you at work. I had a strong opinion, and then I talked myself out of it. Now I've been sipping them, and like the temperature's been rising because I pulled them right out of the fridge. I just like Heady Topper better.
Okay.
And now I'm very sad.
Wow, interesting.
Because I'll probably won't never get this beer again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, having access to Pliny the Elder isn't the worst thing in the world.
I'll have to start trading for it. Yeah.
Just keep an eye on the Pacific market.
I know. They said they only get it once a year, so
yeah.
I'll see you next November.
Yeah. See you next year.
All right, we can go to our main topic. I just wanted to give you that very sad revelation.
Okay. Well, maybe you'll change your mind again
before the end of the podcast.
Before we officially end the episode, we'll get your final.
Yeah, we'll
review.
We'll get my final verdict.
Okay, so this segues perfectly. This Gingerbread Man Stout segues perfectly into our topic of Martin House Brewing from Fort Worth, Texas, because they do a lot of weird stuff. In fact, anytime anyone on Instagram or something, anytime there's some weird like, oh, we should make a beer out of this, like as a joke, any joke about the weird adjuncts that breweries put in their beers, like there's always someone at the bottom like tagging Martin House, like don't get any ideas because they will do anything.
Are you saying they do the weird stuff?
And I mean anything. They will try everything, and they have, and they continue to do so. And so what happens is you get beers like Delilah Into the Darkness. Mm-hmm. It's so good, like so well executed, and I still think I liked the first one, the Delilah's Delight or whatever. I liked that one better, but this one was very, very good too. So a lot of what they do turns out great, and then a lot of what they do turns out really, really bad. I, for the most part, refuse to buy anything from Martin House in a 6-pack or a 4-pack or whatever.
It's like too much of a commitment. Yeah.
Unless I know that it's one that like maybe some of my coworkers want to try too, and I'll do like a 4-pack and give them away so we can all try it. Mm-hmm. But that's about it. Like I will never buy a 6-pack of anything from them in the with the intention of like drinking all 6 of them for the most part, because everything they do is just so like it could be so good and so bad, but this is their thing. So I'll give you a little background. They were founded in 2012, sold their first beer I think in 2013, but they founded in 2012, Fort Worth, Texas. They were founded by Cody Martin. He was kind of the main guy, and then his 2 friends, David Wiedemeyer and Adam Myers, both had one of them had like a business background, the other one had I think like a construction background. Cody, he had engineering background, so engineering, and then he had this sort of hobby of brewing, which, obviously kind of sort of crosses over because it's such there's a lot of engineering to it, right? That sort of fix things and how do you optimize and make things better. So by tinkering. So he actually, Cody and his wife moved, and they moved in with David Wiedemeyer and his wife. And then they also had another adult couple living there, and then a parrot, I think. It was just this like 3 adult couples living together and this parrot, and he's like basically turned the place into a brewery, and there's like fermentation lines running through the house and all this crazy stuff. But
didn't they say I think we've read a similar article, and they were like referenced like watching Game of Thrones together, but there was like like there was like brewery equipment like running in front of the TV. That's awesome.
Pretty cool. But one of I believe that was sort of the inspiration for the name of the brewery. So it's named after a bird called the purple martin.
Okay.
It's one of the only birds that lives in like in a family community kind of thing.
Interesting.
So I think they drew inspiration from them living in that way.
Yeah.
To the way these purple martins live. And then maybe at some point they had somebody had built a martin house, like a martin bird house, because you can that's a thing apparently. If you build a house for them, they will come and create their little community in their house. But
that's awesome.
So that's how they got their name. And one of the things that they would hear all the time, and this totally makes sense, I mean, I'm sure tons of breweries hear this all the time, but when people would come in, people would ask what's new. And I think that really does sort of fit into the trend of how craft beer is now. People don't like to just drink the same beer over and over again. They want to know what's new, what's happening, what are you doing right now. And so they decided to really sort of lean into that and be like, there's gonna always be something new.
Okay.
So they now brew 150 beers a year, 150 different beers.
That's like
different recipes.
3 a week.
I believe they have like 7 standards. They have a Salty Lady Goza, which is their best-selling summer beer. Martin House Pils, True Love, which is a raspberry sour ale. Friday IPA, Bock Slider, which is a Texas Bock. They have the Imperial Texan, which is a double IRA, India Red Ale, which one you would like, I think.
I do love that.
And the Best Made Sour Pickle Beer.
Oh, right.
So those are the 7 year-round beers that they brew.
Yeah, like their main lineup.
And then everything else is a one-off, just comes and goes. They rarely ever do something again. They do. I've seen them do that, but for the most part, they're just trying new things, making new beers, doing new flavor combinations. And they put out 6, I think every 6 weeks they put out 5 new seasonals.
It's insane.
And then a couple, and those get canned and distributed. And there's 2 more that they brew just to be on tap at the tap room. So yeah, going to the brewery, there's always gonna be something new. Not only that's just exclusive to the brewery tap room, but also this stuff that they're just constantly rotating and brewing. You can get in the grocery store and at the brewery. So it's pretty incredible. Honestly, I love it. I drink a lot of Martin House beers because of this. Because I go to the grocery store and the shelf is all the same stuff, and then there's the Martin House section, and it's always changing.
It's like perpetual novelty.
Yeah, and it's always weird, but there's always something that's like, oh yeah, I gotta try that.
That's really cool. Like, in a certain way, I love it because I love they're constantly making something new, and that kind of feeds into that I don't know, kind of like what you said, enjoying the moment. This is the only time you're gonna get to taste this beer, today, which is kind of cool. But on the flip side, it's like, oh no, I'll never get to taste this again. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess in a way I've gotten so used to that, right? Like Briny Melon Goza from Anderson Valley is like my favorite beer of all time. I never get to drink it.
Yeah. You don't get it out there? Or?
It's really hard to find. I mean, you can sometimes, but it's just hit or miss whether I run into it at the right time, at the right place. So I've only gotten it like 2 times here in Texas. But yeah, so it's like there are beers that like actually have pretty good distribution that I love, and I still never get those. So I've sort of just kind of embraced this idea of there's going to be beers that I drink that I love that I may never ever get again. Mm-hmm. And in some ways, it's just part of the fun.
Yeah, there'll be new beers that you're excited about.
Yeah.
I don't know if you, it's so funny that you mentioned, or I don't know if I mentioned Briny Melon, but do you remember when that beer first came out, it came in a bomber?
No, I don't. I did not drink it when it was
so when they first made it, you could only get it in a bomber, and it was hard to get. Uh-huh. And I remember, like, I don't know who it was. One of my friends that's also into beer, like, texted me a picture of like an end, like a grocery store, like end cap.
Yeah.
Where they just like stack a bunch of whatever. And it was Briny Melon Goza 6-packs in cans. And I just remember being like,
yeah.
What? Yeah. Like, where are you?
We have arrived.
I'm getting in my car. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. There is something to be said about like something being special and like you can't get it very often. I do feel like that kind of makes it a better experience. But then, yeah, you never know. Like, you're going to run into your next new favorite thing someday in the future. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of what they're tapping into. Because I'm such a sucker for this stuff. Like and they know, like Pepsi and Coke and all, they all do this. Like where they're like, Oreos especially. They're like, limited edition. And they make some like random flavor. And then I'm an idiot. And I'm like walking through the store and I'm like, I want to try that. And like most of them are bad. But I just like, I'm so drawn to the novelty and like it's like that promise of like, maybe this is your new favorite thing. And like 99 times out of 100, it's not. But you're like seeking that one, like, this is my new favorite. Yeah. So.
Yep. So some of the weird beers they've brewed. Well, they make the pickle beers, of course.
Okay, yeah.
And I think we've told this story on the podcast before, but probably been long enough we could retell it. So there's a really funny story about Martin House's pickle beer that it debuted in 2019, but in 2015, 4 years earlier, New Braunfels Brewing, which is like just south of Austin, they released a pickle beer. And then in 2020, New Braunfels Brewing released a spicy version of their pickle beer. And then Martin House, just not too many months later, they released a spicy version of their pickle beer. And then New Braunfels, the next one they released was Fruit Punch Pickle Beer. And they literally the side of the box of cans told the whole story of how Martin House, like, this is the next pickle beer that Martin House will be brewing. Like, basically they're copying us every time. And actually, sure enough, not too much longer than that, long after that, Martin House released a fruit punch version of the pickle beer. And so New Braunfels was all in good fun. They do not care. They didn't like pursue any legal action against Martin House or whatever.
Yeah.
They were totally fine. They were just basically just kind of joking with them. But when they asked the marketing director at Martin House about the whole situation, he just said, "Who? Never heard of him."
Dang.
Which New Braunfels also says is not true because they've reached out to them before about it.
They were just going for the sick burn.
Yeah. So anyway,
Who?
Great story.
Yeah.
And actually, it was funny. Not too long ago, Martin House posted something about how some of their posts on Instagram had been flagged for removal or something.
Wait, really?
And they were just beer posts or whatever. Yeah. And so I put in the comments, "Is this the work of New Braunfels Brewing?" And they're like, "No, we're on good terms with them."
That is so funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So, yeah, that was a little fun story about the pickle beer, but they're very, very popular. I mean, they make it year round now. That was never the intention to make that pickle beer year round, but it's very, very popular. I didn't really understand or recognize the beauty of the pickle until I moved to Texas.
Okay, can you
They're
elaborate?
very, very well. They're just very popular. People love pickles. They love pickle juice. You know that Chick-fil-A chicken. That's what makes it so good. Is they brine it. They brine the chicken in pickle juice.
Oh, you know what's so funny? I don't know. I don't think she even knew this. But my wife loves Chick-fil-A. I also love Chick-fil-A. And she always said there's like a pickle quality to the chicken there.
Yeah,
And she's
that's
right.
what
I'm going to go
makes it-
tell her. She'll
yeah.
be so excited to know that.
Yeah. We just love our pickles down here.
Well, the thing I didn't know too, my wife actually introduced me to this, but like I've only ever, before I met her, I only have ever tasted like a kosher, dill pickle. Like, you know, the kosher.
Okay.
It was at the brand, Vlasic.
Yeah, I think.
Like kosher
Yeah,
dill
Vlasic.
pickles or whatever. Kosher is
Yeah.
like the food type that.
Yeah.
But I had never tasted anything but dill.
Okay.
And then she
versus
introduced,
like a bread and butter pickle.
yeah, she introduced me to the whole universe of like bread and butter, and there's like a whole range of spicy pickles.
Uh-huh.
And like there's ones called sweet heat, like where they're hot and sweet. Yes, pickles is there's a big universe. I got awoken to the pickle universe. Sweet heat is where it's at, by the way.
Nice.
These are the best.
Okay. I like dill pickles. Those are my favorite.
I think those are probably the most popular, but because I think most people when they think of a pickle, they think of a dill pickle. But yeah, there's lots of different variants.
Yeah. So Martin House has gone on to make. They have like a pickle beer variety pack.
That's how you know you need too many pickle beers. Yeah.
Yeah. They have a grape version. That one I did not like. I actually enjoyed the fruit punch one. I did not like the grape one. But,
Okay.
But they made a barbecue sauce beer,
That doesn't sound good.
which apparently they took the same base beer as the pickle beer, and they say if you can't handle like just drinking the barbecue sauce beer by itself, that you should mix it half and half with the pickle beer and do half pickle beer, half barbecue sauce
Okay,
beer,
interesting.
which apparently is pretty good. But they actually, the same coworker, Hannah, she's going to get 2 shout outs on the podcast today. She brought me a beer called Cotton-Headed Mini Muggins, just like an elf reference. That beer beer was brewed with like spaghetti and cotton candy and maple syrup, or whatever, like in the movie Elf, he like makes his crazy
Oh yeah,
spaghetti. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Oh no.
In fact, Hannah said that she threw one out like just last week that was there from last year.
A lot of
It's sitting in-
range. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing they won't try. They've brewed beer with lavender and chai and so many different things. This gingerbread stout is terrible, by the way. But I've always been like, their sours are very good. I feel like I've never quite gotten on board with their stouts.
Okay.
They have a pretzel stout.
Okay,
and
that sounds like it could be good.
and then a peanut butter pretzel stout, a peanut butter version of that. And they've been pretty good, but nothing could quite blow me away like some of their sour beers. Their sour beers, like just the fact that this one had 12%, couldn't taste it. Initial Delilah Delight that had 10%, couldn't taste it. I've had a blueberry goza from them that was like 8%, could not taste the alcohol. It was so good. They had a prickly pear goza a while back. It was really good. So they've locked in their sours pretty good.
Okay.
I think. And goes like Salty Lady is their goza that they make year round,
Oh, okay.
and it's one of their most popular beers. So it makes sense. They're pretty good at the goza and the sour style. So I will mention though that Cody Martin, the founder, his dream was always to have a saison as the flagship beer of Martin House.
Okay.
He had to give up on that dream because
Hmm.
the saison was not going to be the flagship
That's
beer.
not like a beer you pick to carry your brand.
Yeah, sorry. There's just not enough saison lovers out there.
Yeah, that's an acquired taste right there.
If you're a brewery in Texas, your flagship's going to be a pickle beer. Sorry.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be saison. Not in a state where Big Red is a soda flavor.
For like a couple weeks, Martin House's Instagram was dominated by Glizzy Fest. Do you know what a glizzy is? Do you know what that's slang for?
It's like a hot dog or something.
Hot dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that until Martin House's Instagram for a few weeks is dominated by their Glizzy Fest posts. And they were they had this huge hot dog festival at Martin House with a bunch of different hot dog food trucks and stuff. And I think they had a hot dog flavored beer or something. I don't know. Of course they did. Or ketchup flavored beer. I don't know. It's really wild.
Martin House is off the rails.
Right now they have a bunch of like cookie flavored beer. Like I don't even know what the base beer is because it just says cookie flavored beer or cookie ale. They just call it
cookie ale.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
I don't know what that is. They had one a while back that was a cake batter sour. That one actually was pretty delicious. But they make some cream ales that are cookie flavored. And
I'm a pretty big fan of cake batter flavored things.
Yeah, this cake batter sour was actually pretty delicious. I will say.
I would like that.
That's one that I ran through a 4-pack of that.
Okay, that was one you were willing to commit.
It was good. I mean, it's not one I like to admit is
whatever, Steven.
I was drinking.
It's well known by your preferences on the pod are well known through the podcast that you like candy beers and cereal beers and cake batter beers. It's fine. Don't run. Don't hide. Just embrace it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's what you like.
Sorry for being sorry.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Anything else to add?
No, except
we should get out of here.
I know. I'm drinking 2 Imperial IPAs. My final verdict is Heady Topper is better, and I'm sad about it.
Dude.
It's a fuller, more robust, more complex experience overall.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry. I'm very sad about it.
Don't be sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right, we gotta end this.
Yeah, wrap it up.
We've become too intoxicated. All right. Well, you can reach out to us on Instagram at attenuation.podcast. I'll be posting this cool picture of my head-to-head. And you can also email us at contact.attenuation@gmail.com. And this has been episode 86 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Stephen.
That's me.
We are saying cheers, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
For episode 87.
I'm excited.
And the resolution of some of our post scripts.
Yeah, post scripts.
All right, cheers, buddy.
All right, cheers.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!